I was used to being compared, but that evening felt different. It was sharper, heavier, like the kind of humiliation you remember even years later. We were all sitting in the living room, gathered for what was supposed to be a simple family dinner. But nothing in my house was ever simple. Not when I was in the room. My sister, Rimsha, had just bought a fully furnished house. 3 floors, marble tiles, imported furniture. My mother treated it like she had won the lottery herself. She told every relative, every neighbor, every auntie in her WhatsApp group. Pride shone on her face like sunlight. But when it came to me, that sunlight always turned into shade. As we ate dinner, Mom started again. Rimsha, you really handled everything so beautifully. Look at how settled you are. Some people, her eyes slid to me. Just keep dreaming. The table fell silent. Rimsha hid a smirk behind her glass of juice. I ignored it. I had learned to. But then Mom laughed, loud and careless, the kind of laugh that doesn't just hit your ears. It hits your chest. Ahon, you'll never own a house like your sister, she said. You, a house, beta. You can't even maintain your own room. Rimsha's smirk widened. Mom, leave him, she added sweetly. He tries, but you know not everyone is built for big responsibilities. The words felt like salt rubbed openly into a wound. I swallowed them quietly. I wasn't angry, not exactly. It was something deeper, a mix of betrayal and disappointment. Your mother is supposed to protect you from the world, not become the world you need protection from. I stared at my empty plate, pretending the words didn't matter, but inside, something shifted, something snapped. After dinner, while everyone celebrated Rimsha's success, I stepped outside for air. My hands were shaking slightly, not from hurt, but from a strange, burning determination. I picked up my phone and texted my friend, the only person who never laughed at my dreams. It's fine. I typed slowly. They think I'm a failure. Let them. I don't take insults personally anymore. A pause. I take them as motivation. The message sent. I stood there in the dark backyard, listening to my mother's laughter drift from inside the house, loud, confident, certain that I would always remain the lesser child. That night, I decided something quietly. One day, the same people who laughed at my dreams would walk through the doors of a house I built with my own hands. And when that day came, they wouldn't laugh, not anymore. The day after that humiliating dinner, everything in the house felt heavier. Mom behaved like nothing had happened, and Rimsha continued sending pictures of her new rooms to every relative on earth. But I carried the weight of their words everywhere inside me. I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself. I didn't try to convince them I had potential. I simply went silent. During the day, I worked at my low-paying job in a small office with flickering tube lights and an old computer that lagged every time I opened 2 tabs together. People at work barely noticed me. I was the guy no one remembered to invite for lunch, but I didn't mind. Silence was my comfort now, because every night, when the world slept, I stayed awake building something only I believed in. My online work started with tiny tasks: editing, designing, freelancing. The earnings were laughably small at first. If my mother had seen my first month's income, she might have laughed even harder. But I didn't stop. Most nights, I worked until my eyes burned and my neck ached. I watched tutorials, took small risks, failed repeated times, then tried again. The screen became my battlefield, and my tired hands became my weapons. At home, things didn't change. Mom's comments became routine. Rimsha is going to buy a second property soon. Look how fast she's growing. You're still doing that computer thing, Beta. That's not real work. Sometimes she said it softly. Sometimes she said it like a slap. Either way, Rimsha always heard, and her smirk always returned. But I stayed quiet, not because I was weak, not because they were right, but because I was building something I didn't want to announce before it became real. 1 month, my earnings doubled. The next month, they doubled again. Then I signed my first big project, something I had prayed for in silence for almost a year. I opened my first company bank account. I didn't tell anyone, not a single soul at home. It felt like a treasure I needed to protect. Every time I transferred money into my savings, I remembered my mother's laugh. You will never own a house like your sister. Those words replayed in my head like fuel, not poison. One night, exhausted but hopeful, I looked at the ceiling and whispered to myself, "You will regret mocking my dreams." Because deep inside, beneath the hurt and disappointment, there was a fire. A fire they had accidentally lit, and I was finally learning how to let it burn. The years passed quietly, but I was anything but quiet. Every hour of my life outside their eyes was spent building, learning, creating. The small sparks of income from my online work had grown into steady streams. Soon, I wasn't just surviving, I was thriving. And no one in my family had noticed. Not yet. I still visited home occasionally, but I smiled politely while Rimsha bragged, and Mom continued her subtle digs. "Beta, you should consider settling down before you waste your youth," she said one evening. Rimsha, sipping her wine, added, "You know, it's okay. Not everyone can handle big responsibilities like me." I smiled. Outwardly, nothing had changed. Inside, though, something was shifting. My patience, my long nights, my silent struggles, they were all molding into something unstoppable. I began to dream bigger. I didn't just want financial freedom. I wanted a symbol of my triumph, something I could look at and say, "I built this, and no one can belittle me again." That dream became a house, not just any house, a place I could call mine from foundation to rooftop, designed exactly the way I wanted. Every brick would be a reminder of every insult I had swallowed, every smirk I had endured, every night I had worked while the world slept. I scoured listings, studied the market, and eventually found the perfect property. A modest place at first glance, but with potential. I purchased it quietly, in cash, with years of careful savings and investments. Then came the renovations. I chose marble tiles that caught the light just right, a modern kitchen that rivaled Rimsha's Instagram photos, and a home office where I could rule my own world. I kept it a secret. I didn't post pictures. I didn't brag. No one needed to know. Every late night email, every successful client project, every payment I transferred into my account brought me closer to that goal. And finally, the day came. I walked into my finished house for the first time, a strange thrill running down my spine. The house wasn't just walls and furniture. It was a testament to persistence, a silent but undeniable victory. Later, when my mother called to ask about a family visit, her voice cheerful, unaware, I simply smiled. "Sure, Mom," I texted, "and Rimsha, she'll be thrilled too. I have something to show you both." For the first time, I realized that revenge didn't need anger or shouting. It could be quiet, deliberate, and profoundly satisfying. This was my moment, and they didn't even know it was coming. The day had come. I had invited my mother and Rimsha over under the pretense of a family visit, a casual gathering. They had no idea what awaited them. I smiled quietly to myself as I waited near the gate, the sunlight reflecting off the polished marble floor of my living room. Every detail of the house, every corner, every carefully chosen piece of furniture, was a reminder of every insult, every laugh I had endured. When they arrived, Rimsha stepped out of the car first, her heels clicking on the driveway. She looked around, confused. "Whose house is this?" she asked, voice sharp. My mother followed, eyes wide, scanning the manicured garden, the gleaming windows, the sleek modern gate. Her face drained of color almost immediately. I walked toward them, calm, collected, and confident, every step deliberate. I opened the gate fully and extended my hand, gesturing toward the entrance. "Welcome," I said softly. "This is my house." Silence. Rimsha's smirk vanished. Her perfectly painted lips parted slightly, words failing her. My mother's hands trembled slightly as she reached out to touch the railing, unsure if her eyes were deceiving her. This is yours," Mom whispered, almost inaudibly. "Yes," I replied, steady and composed. "I wanted you both to see it with your own eyes." For a moment, they simply looked. No laughter, no comments, no comparisons. Just the weight of reality settling in. I didn't need to shout. I didn't need to gloat. The house itself spoke louder than words ever could. Then softly I continued, "Success doesn't need noise. It doesn't need approval. It only needs consistency, patience, and belief." My mother's lips trembled, and a single tear slid down her cheek. Rimsha's eyes glistened as she struggled to find words. I'm proud of you," Mom finally said, voice choked with emotion and disbelief. I smiled. not with arrogance, but with quiet triumph. I had won their respect, their shock, and most importantly, I had proven to myself that I could rise above the ridicule. Rimsha stepped closer, lowering her eyes, no smirk, no teasing comment, just silence. I knew that in that silence, she finally realized that life wasn't about mocking someone else. It was about building your own world. I gestured around the house, letting the sunlight dance across the floors. This house isn't just bricks and tiles. I said softly. It's proof that dreams don't die just because someone laughed at them. They grow stronger. And as I watched my mother and sister absorb the truth, a calm warmth settled over me. This was sweet revenge served not with anger, but with dignity, patience, and the quiet satisfaction of proving them wrong. For the first time in my life, I felt completely, undeniably victorious.